This is Justin AMZN on Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018, and we have a little bit of buying at the pre-market coming up, still under the 1591 resistance. So we'll step into the day and see what happens. So we open and we somewhat engulf the majority of the pre-market. I mean, there was some that was a little bit above here, but we open up and we just sell off right away. We recover a little bit, nice long lower wick. And with yesterday's candle, let's see, what was this? I think it was a bullish candle. Yeah, I think it closed slightly bullish. This was a bullish retest, so it makes sense to retest, have some pullback here, maybe down to this area, pretty close here, and then being bought up into this resistance, but that doesn't really leave much room to trade on that candle. So we need something smaller, and it'd be nice to play it off of the resistance that we had from yesterday, or come up here to this resistance and sell off, or come down here to the support and be bought. So those are kind of the three key areas to look at where we establish some levels. The only one not drawn in is this one right here, about 1586, this range, 1585, 1586. Next candle, a little more selling, and actually comes right down into this level and pushes right on through. We're really low on the volume. The open volume yesterday and the open volume on Friday are much higher than we're at right now. So there's still just a smaller number of people buying. And I need to pause and check on something. Sorry. All right, and continuing now, we're looking at the sell-off. Probably should have cleared my throat before turning the video back on. All right, back into this area. Nice little lower wick, but much larger candle, similar volume to the first candle, and moving a little bit lower. This is not looking like a solid bounce off of this area, and so not really moving bullish yet. So we're looking for it to move bullish, a bullish retest gap. So this is the retest part. This could actually be, you could be in this going bearish through here, and looking for it to come down to the 1578 price. So let's look at the next candle and see what happens. All right, there's some indecision. Excuse me. There's some indecision right in the area that we were talking about here. So nice high wave candle. Similar lows. Let's see, is this tweezer-ish? Yeah, the lows are 5 cents apart from each other. Tweezer-ish, but much larger bearish candle than bullish. Or indecisive. But anyway, if it were to bounce here, you could get in bullish above and take it up to the resistance for like a 1, maybe 1.5 to 1, something like that. Excuse me, again. Sorry for that. If it continues bearish, this would be a great place to take it bearish here with a stop here down to yesterday's low, or I'm sorry, this support, and then yesterday's low as another target. So probably closer to a 2 to 1 combined for that. So could have been wicked into a bearish trade here, or if you waited for a close, then you're not. But this is even more buying at this level. Comes right back and makes a body similar to the previous candle, but still looking a little more bearish in terms of it being a bearish candle and a lot of selling. But we're losing some volume. The volume is drifting off. This is the lowest volume we've had in the in the first 20 minutes of the day. Lower than yesterday's volume. I guess it's similar to maybe the drop off here, but if you discount the first candle. Anyway, not too much of indication. A little bit of sideways movement and then starting to bounce. So if you're going bullish, you could get in, could be in on this move higher here, but your stop is no longer here, it's here. And that's not even a 1, maybe it's about a 1 to 1 up to this level. So if you're in on that, great. Still some larger candles. It'd be nice to see instead some smaller candles like this in this area. And so as things are at right now, it's actually still looking like a bearish move, retest to somewhat of a, I guess I'm picturing this as like a double top or distribution here, and it's selling off, retesting to the low. 1588, and then might roll over. Just the level that we're looking at here. And so we've got, our next candle is some selling off. Doesn't quite get up to 1588. But this candle is taking out the low, and this totally looks like it continue lower with that, that large candle. Takes out that low. Oh, wow. Didn't mean to skip that candle. That's a nice candle. Comes right down into our support. That's a nice candle pushing through all the way to yesterday's low, almost all the way to the low. So probably took some profit here. And if you had it set up, took some, around this area. Didn't quite make it down to the low. Maybe I'll do it on the next candle. No. Wow. Okay, the low on that is 1575.25, and the low here is 1575. 25 cents off of yesterday's low. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 30 minutes of selling. Pretty big move. Yeah, there's some buying to bounce. Came back down into yesterday's level, so totally makes sense that it's it could bounce down here. If you go back to look at Friday, no, I didn't do a video Friday. If you look at yesterday's video, revisiting some of the levels in here, I mean, you're bouncing off of this like a double bottom, bounced off it here. This is a longer term retest here, but that isn't really much of a key value. This really is. Now we're back above this. It'd be great to see if we hold. There's a nice strong candle, still low on volume, losing the bearish momentum, but understandable. It'd be great to see if we hold. Just some chopping around. Still just sideways. Okay, this is a little bit, that's a small Morningstar reversal, but you could take this bearish like 1580.50 by 1578, so like $2.50, $2.50 of risk. Easily make it way up here for multiple R. If you make it up to this pivot, it's only a little bit. If you make it up to yesterday's pivots, 1585, that's 1585.50 would be 2R. So, I mean, that's a nice target, 2R right there off of that Morningstar reversal. But we'll see if that triggers, and triggered in. Okay. Nice consolidation here after a nice bearish move. Still holding low, relative lows, but see if it'll bounce here and push on through the exponential moving averages, and it's continuing. Okay. Retest. A little bit bigger retest, and that's interesting. Okay, it came down here, still held this low, still stayed above here, so you could still be in if you didn't move your stop. If you move your stop, you're stopped out or trailed out, maybe a small gain depending on where you get out. But way up here, you're maybe 1.5 to 1, something like that. But what's interesting is it came back down. Looks like it's going to fall over, or it's going to roll over again. We had 30 minutes of selling here. We got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes of selling here, but much smaller range after a breakout bullish or a move slightly bullish, retests, and this looks still like a bigger consolidation here. What's really interesting is this gap, the bearish candle gapping up on a 5-minute. That's a bullish gap and go on a 5-minute. You'll see these sometimes. So this closed here, gap down to open here. That's an indication of some bearish movement. But this one looks like it's actually bullish. We had a squeeze that formed, but then did not fire or trigger bullish. But I'm sorry, it triggered bullish. It didn't move bullish, and then it lost all its momentum on this pullback. So this is looking a little more bullish here. If you get a little more sideways pullback to get in like 1580 by 1578, that would be a phenomenal trade. You could take that up to 1586, and that would be 3R, right? Something like that. Yeah. So let's take it a couple steps. Okay, you're in bullish. You're holding this level. That's a really great level to hold with that bullish gap. You've sort of got a bearish engulfing here that maybe you got in on, or maybe you got a slightly better fill than the 1580 price. But the stop is down here at 1578. A little bit of room, but you got this lower wick, these lower wicks, and we'll see if it bounces. It's a good place for it to do it. A little bit lower low, nice consolidation. Okay, these candles, you got, again, it's, if you merge the candles, you just got, well, you don't have to merge it, but you got 30 minutes of sideways. Not much going on. Now this is the lunch hour on the East Coast, the 11 o'clock hour, but now it looks like it's starting to move a little bit. This could be a double bottom. If you're not in, you can get in at like 1582 by 1579, so that'd be a $3 risk, and look to get out at 2R up at 1587. So let's keep stepping into it and see. Nice consolidation. Okay, starting to just drift a little bit higher, and nice. Wow. Okay, so here's 30 minutes of buying. Pause here. Actually took out the previous pivot. Pause here. Could come back a little bit. Maybe retest down to this level, 1581, probably 1582 would be a nice little retest. And then I continue to move higher. About 2 hours left in the day. Looks like we don't get a retest. Looks like it's just going to keep going. And it got up to 1586.28. Really close to the 1587. But after this kind of move, we got some resistance here. You got some resistance here. Makes sense to actually get out here. And this is also the same area as yesterday. So when it came into this area yesterday, somebody was selling. And when it came here, somebody was selling, probably the same person. And when it came in here, they probably weren't trading it into the close. If they were, then they hosed the open and lost a lot. But now you're up here at the same level, at just the same range right in here as these candles. So it makes sense to have an evening star reversal, start to roll over, and that turns into double top, neckline with a gap, retest, actually retest a little higher than I expected it to, but you're really going to look for this to roll over right here, and it throws an upper wick, and then continues to, okay, now it's turned to roll, oh, it's the end of the day. So going bearish maybe got a little bit, squeaked out a little bit of a gain if you held that right into the close. But it's interesting. We've got a bigger triangle here by here. Broke bullish. This is a little bit of a longer term retest down to here. We'll see if it'll continue to bounce tomorrow like it broke out from this. So a couple key areas, seeing this Morningstar reversal here. So if we had bought at the 1055 candle going bullish, that would have been a possibility. So 1055 on the call, looking at the 1575 call, 1120, that doesn't seem to match up with something. No, 1055. All right, 1055, sorry. 1055 is right here. A call. Oh. Like, what is going on? I'm looking at the wrong date. If we look at the 25th, that makes more sense. I had to restart, and so I didn't load the right date when Thinkorswim opened back up. So I was looking at last Friday's options, but this, today, or well, last Friday's expiration for options, as if they were working today on a Tuesday, and they don't. So coming back into the 1575 call at the 11th, I did it again at the 1055. 1055 could have gotten in on that candle. Oops, that's the day. 1055 got on that candle. That would have been buying at 15 with the stop down around 14. May have been stopped out there, and then moved up to 17. So that would have been a 2-to-1 reward to risk. you can see from the options. Let me take a step back out. So let me restore. So there you go. So as this moved down, the bullishness was leaving. This moved up, and then the puts just kind of went chopped sideways down throughout the day. We got a little bit of a rally here, and that's what we're looking at on the call. It just doesn't look like it's moving too consistently here. It's jumping around. There's not some huge ranges. I mean, from the low to the high, 1331, all the way to the high, during the day, like the 1729. So, I mean, if it were to start, let's just say you start the low 1310, and you're able to trade that up to 17, something like that. So a little bit of gain. It all depends on what your risk is going to be. And the cleanest places for some risk were here, this morning's reversal, or here for support. And then it just ran up. And then for this part of the day, I mean, even though it just went sideways, the puts actually gained a little bit coming back down here, but negligible here. I mean, not negligible, but you're only up like an R, maybe, if you get out at the right time on a move like that. Get in, get out at the right time. Taking a bigger step out to the daily. Today's candle is, let's see, slightly lower high. So it's not engulfing. It's a little bit of just a sideways pennant, but you can see this. We've got 6 days here, plus any of these. There's a good amount of sideways candles that really this could, you take a look at a bigger time frame, and it could just totally rally from here. It could totally break down from here. So we need to see some decisions soon. We might see that this week, coming up on a holiday week, and people not wanting to hold positions all the way to the through the long weekend, and then with the month ending shortly thereafter, some folks may want to just lock things in. So that's more the fundamental of what's going on. But looking at the chart, there's some opportunities, but they're few and far between lately because of the size, the range of these candles. When we had some of these candles back here, these were some huge move days, and the Amazon price just moved incredibly far for what the options do to gain value through that. Not a very far percentage. I mean, a little bit of higher percentage, but within an expected range on a move. But these sideways candles, these are just so small that there's somewhat indecisive candles. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and sorry for the interruption midway through. This is just an Amazon.